Hello, everyone. We're back today with Michael, and we have a new session in the JFK conspiracy session number 49, Behind the Curtain. Michael, thank you for joining me today. Welcome.
Welcome, Brett. Welcome, dear listeners. I'm so sorry that conspiracy series is taking a time, but yeah, well, what to say about it? There are so many things and so many lies in the world to uncover. So that is session 49, if I have counted correctly, with the Behind the Curtain series, the mini series in the series called Three Methods of finding out the truth. The first one, I can tell you, don't have to write it down in the script. The first one to tell you, if you are an eyewitness, imagine you would be in the trunk of the JFK car hidden, and then you would see that the driver is shooting back, just for example, then you would, and JFK would react, then maybe you can tell that, okay, yeah, I know for sure that the driver shot Kennedy. Otherwise, everything is hearsay. Second possibility is just to look into the Bible, because everything has been written here, that the kings of the earth, were gathered together with the whore of Babylon in Revelation 17:2, for example, or 1 Samuel 8. They rejected God and they wanted to be treated as pagans, and they wanted to have a pagan king. So why did I spend so many hours to go into the Kennedy assassination? Well, for these fellows who did not read the Bible yet, for example, and are just only interested in JFK and the surroundings of his untimely death, so therefore that is method number 3, to go into all the lies and deceptions of the enemy called Satan and to uncover all the unfruitful works of darkness. But how? Well, I think the most likely and most preferable way is just to speak their language, so that we have to get used to their rituals, symbolism, and their special language. And that's what I'm going to do today. So I don't want to continue the same path, because we know that we are living in a deception world. We are living in a matrix. We're living in a world full of conspiracy. And they just have the power of the mass media since the 19th century already. So therefore, don't be surprised that they speak with one voice when it comes down to the C-19 thing, that they speak with one voice when it went back to the 9/11 thing. So that tells you, and that should be enough of evidence, that you don't have any free press. So therefore, you have to rely on small channels, small programs, or reading books, or reading old books, actually. And therefore, we are trying to recommend you some books and try to present you some techniques. So let's start. If you truly follow Jesus, what will be the outcome, Brett?
Oh, yes. If you truly follow Jesus, what will be the outcome, you ask me as a question. Well, we hope that salvation comes. Yes.
Yeah, but I was receiving that picture from my German sister Renate, and that is her explanation, or that is the picture she shared with me.
Oh, I see. Oh, you're talking about the picture here. Yeah. Oh, yes, indeed. The world will hate you, block you, unfollow you, talk behind your back, laugh at you, reject you, make false claims about you, hypocrisy, test you, try to destroy your faith. That's a good one. Yeah. Try to destroy your faith. That's Satan's job, Michael. Try to make you look crazy. Try to make you the cause of all problems. Yes. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that's that is the outcome. Mm-hmm. And so what does the King James Bible, what does the King James Bible tells us in, I think it was, I have forgotten to insert it here, I think it was Matthew 24. Can you read the bold lines,
Sure.
Brett?
Yes, verse 17, but beware of men, for they will deliver you up to the councils, and they will scourge you in their synagogues, and ye shall be brought before governors and kings for my sake, for a testimony against them and the Gentiles. But when they deliver you up, take no thought of how or what ye shall speak, for it shall be given you in that same hour what ye shall speak. For it is not ye that speak, but the Spirit of your Father which speaketh in you. And the brother shall deliver up the brother to death, and the father the child, and the children rise up against their parents, and cause them to be put to death. And ye shall be hated of all men for my name's sake, but he that endureth to the end shall be saved. But when they persecute you in the city, flee ye into another, for verily I say unto you, ye shall, where are we?
Sorry.
Ye shall not have gone over the cities of Israel till the Son of Man be come. The disciple is not above his master, nor the servant above his Lord. It is enough for the disciple that he is able as his master, and the servant as his Lord, if they have called the master of the house of Beelzebub, how much more shall they call them of his household?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so they will persecute us because we are speaking out the truth, and to do so, we have to find out it before. So I don't want to go into any nitty-gritty here. We know that the brain is missing and this and that. You see, and you can spend your entire life on all that stuff, but I would like to make a shortcut here, because the first thing that I would like to point out is that if we would like to understand the enemy or to uncover the enemy's language, we have to face with their symbolism and we have to know their language. So when the newspapers are pointing out that no one will ever truly know where JFK's brain is today, that is absolutely untrue, because there must be somebody who has ordered to do so. So there must be some people in this world who absolutely know about the remain of the body and the brain or what else, because I highly doubt that there is something underneath that stone or that grave. That is my suggestion of it. Yeah, so Bobby Kennedy, who had something of it or don't know, we said, whom to trust? Yeah, this is just the world. It's just a mess. Yeah, it's just a fallen world. So this is a guy who you have to be very careful about, because that Eric John Phelps character, he's very educated, so he has a lot of sources that he's naming. I don't know if he has written that book on himself or if he had any other help, which I highly suggest. But what do I know is that he's making suggestions and claims and having not that much of sources. So that was distracting me a bit of that book. Also, you have to be very careful, because Eric John Phelps is promoting Jesuitical futurism. And also, he's a racist. Yeah, so I have had a hard time of implementing some things of his book into the sessions. I really had a hard time, and I thought long if I should do so. But now that I had given you that advice, it is just that I needed some pictures of his book, yeah, which is his claims that the Roman Catholic Church is behind the attack of John F. Kennedy, or on John F. Kennedy, and that it was the Navy SEAL driver William Greer who put the trigger. So, but the problem is also that he's not accusing Jacqueline Kennedy or Jacqueline Onassis on any wrong behavior in that book, which tells me that he's not having a book which is speaking the truth about the matter. Yeah, that is my personal opinion. Of course, I wasn't there. I was not an eyewitness. But according to all the sources that I have read, that is very strange that he's not mentioning Jacqueline Kennedy as a usual suspect or with her false testimony, etc. So careful, you have to prove everything. Yeah,
It's
and you have.
interesting that you say that, Michael, because you know, I can openly say that I met Jörg Lissman through a conference call. Actually, I heard about Jörg actually long before I met him, but I actually was involved with Alan Lamont. I don't know if you've ever heard
Mm,
of Alan Lamont. I'm
yeah, sure.
sure
Hmm.
Jörg may have told you the story behind
Yeah,
that too.
yeah.
And I had some talks with Alan Lamont, and Alan Lamont I come out further to understand as a friend of Eric John Phelps. So I thought it was very interesting when Alan Lamont was making the same claim that Jacqueline Kennedy was the one who killed her husband. And I was pretty shocked about that right away, but it seems to make sense actually. And that was wow. I think that was back in 2014 when Alan Lamont made a video on that, put it up. But Alan Lamont's ministry kind of completely disintegrated when he made some big I would personally say some mistakes in trying to claim that he converted people when it's the Holy Spirit that converts people. We're just there
Hmm.
to plant seeds. We don't convert people to Christ. Christ converts them through the Holy Spirit, and
Hmm.
that's the work of the Holy Spirit, and no man can take credit for that. So you when you try and take credit for converting someone, you're doing yourself a big disservice because you don't really understand how the Spirit works to begin with, because the Spirit has nothing to do with man. Man is a fallen being. He has a lot of problems, and you can speak about your problems, but it doesn't mean they're going to get solved, Michael.
Hmm.
But anyway, yeah, I thought it was rather interesting when Alan Lamont was talking about being friends with Eric John Phelps. And
Hmm. Yeah, this sure is. I'm just trying to open that file, but I think I have
but it's
to.
also ironic because Alan Lamont was actually speaking the same thing, that it was Jacqueline Kennedy that killed her husband, not Mr. Greer, as I think Eric John Phelps is promoting, right?
Yeah, you won't find it in this book. Yeah, it's about 2,000 pages, Brett.
Yeah. See, I used to listen to Eric John Phelps years ago when I was first discovering some things. And he has some very interesting things to say, and I think it doesn't hurt anyone to listen to him, but just be careful, as Michael had mentioned, that he teaches a different kind of eschatology that the Jesuits put forward about futurism. And that's one of the biggest problems I think that we have in Christendom, Michael, is that people think that there's a future Antichrist, and then they also think that there are a lot of other future things coming to pass. And I don't know. The more I study history, the more I read the old authors, the more I come to recognize that, well, maybe, a lot more has been fulfilled that we give credit for.
Mm.
I don't know. It's a lot of questions we need to ask. There's no easy answer there. We've been left in the dark, Michael, as far as, the truth of our history, the truth of our church. And, we got to go in there and start researching and studying on our own. That's the whole point of all the work
Mm.
we do, is to encourage others. We're not trying to discourage you, dear listener.
Mm. So I did not find any claim in that book. The problem is that with 2,000 pages, it takes forever to search anything out of that book, especially when you're doing the broadcast and the file, etc. At the same time. My computer cannot cope with it. But yeah, you won't find any accusation of Jacqueline in that book. And so I thought that, well, oh well, so much for the truth-seeking community. Oh, okay, so then that is his overview of JFK's enemies who led to his death. Yeah, so there are Dames of Malta, there are, of course, church people, Pope, Francis Spellman, yeah, and all the stuff. James Jesus Angleton. Yeah, Richard Nixon. Yeah, so that is his overview of the network of assassins. The problem is that how will you prove something? You see, just by bold claims, it does not work. So you have to look behind the curtain. If there is something fishy about it, if you really see that there are some strange people about it, and they did something very strange, just to go into the occult for once in a while. Okay, so that's what I did, that's what I will do in the second part of the session. Because Jesuitism, says Mr. René Philip Miller, is for the greater part the expression of Loyola's personality. We meet obvious traces of Jesuitical influence in our present-day culture. Yeah, so not in the theater and in the schools, but of course in the history. Yeah, so that comes from what is a conspiracy theorist? From Even at the Doors, I think it is, Adrian. And once in a while, I'm looking to Adrian videos. I find them very, very, very good made. Yeah, and I know that many people got problems with Adrian. No problem with Adrian, because I know that Adrian has been created in the image of God. Yeah, so therefore, what his inner beliefs are, I don't know yet. And once and for all, I'm just quoting some web pages. It's not that I recommend any web page, any video, or just any author or so. Yeah, so please do your own research. So we could go on and on and on into all the nitty-gritty of it, but where to start? Well, I got an idea. And that was my first start, by James Shelby Downey, King Hill 33, because of all the Masonic symbolism in the assassination of Kennedy. So I thought, okay, that would be great. We are beginning with the end. So the end means the grave. Yeah, so the Kennedy and Oswald were buried both at Arlington, near Washington, D.C. Arlington is a word of significance, the author says, in Mason's sorcery and mysticism, and has a meaning which ties in with necrolatry. And the point in the circle, that's the eternal flame on the grave here of Kennedy and his not so beloved wife, Jacqueline. The point in the circle, that's the flame, symbolized the sun in ancient sun worship. It's also the symbol of fecundity. Please help me out, Brett.
Oh, the symbol of what?
Yeah, that is fecundity. I thought it was fertility or so, but
I don't know. I've never seen that word before.
Never seen that word before. Okay, that's great. So we have
to ask. I don't know.
We have to ask what it is.
It's really strange.
I have to. Yeah, Fruchtbarkeit. Yeah, that's isn't it the same as fertility? Huh? Yeah. That's what I thought. So that's another more elaborate way to point it out. Huh? So it was a symbol of fertility with the point symbolizing a phallus and a circular vagina. Vagina. So that's all Latin. Okay. So that means that is a sun worship here, huh? Right from the start. Yeah. So at the Oswald gravesites, there's a small tree. There exists an old belief that a tree which grows at or on a grave is embodied with the spirit force of the person, buried at the site, and that such a tree has magical powers. Well, it's just symbol. It's a symbol between heaven and earth, or as above, so below. So that is just like a ladder to the above. So a tree can be seen as something which grows up to heaven, or the connection to heaven. Okay, so that is, these are some graves, Jack Ruby. Yeah, and in this Arlington cemetery, there is also the grave of your former president, William Howard Taft. Happened to be the president until 1930, so just before the First World War broke out. Yeah, and he was also a Freemason of the lodge in Cincinnati, Society of Cincinnati, a Freemason, as well as his both brothers and his father. Yeah, what do we expect with that kind of a monument, huh? Mm-hmm. So, if I would like to suppose or to smell something, I'd say that the most probably the most likely company which has been run by Freemasons would be Brother, huh? I don't know. Yeah, it's also just a kind of a joke.
Yeah.
I know that Brother is supposedly not an American company. Yeah, but just struck me. Yeah, so you see that you can get on and on and on in the history of John F. Kennedy with the Fitzgerald lived near the former site of the Green Dragon Tavern, and yeah, you see Green Dragon, all the stuff. But what really was interesting is that video, which recently showed up on YouTube, is called Heliosorcery. So sun sorcery, actually, exposing the occult origins of heliocentrism. And the quote of Rulers of Evil, once again, is here, quote unquote, convinced they were building a new world, United States of America. The Templars called each other frère maçon, which means brother mason, not a Freemason, but a brother mason. It's French, français, like Jacqueline. Yeah, so once again, convinced they were building a new world, the Templars called each other frère maçon or brother mason. Later, this term would be anglicized into Freemason. Meaning is that your actual Freemasons are being founded from the Knights Templar, or if in other words now the successors is the Sovereign Military Order of Malta. So that is the key of things which I was trying to tell just from the start, that the hierarchy is just that SMOM is on top of Freemasonry. Sorry for my bad English today. Okay, so SMOM, or any kind of knighthood of the Roman Catholic Church, is on top of Freemasons, because Freemasonic things are just being implemented in Protestant countries to undermine their governments. Yeah, to have a secret societies behind closed doors, so that their politics can be decided there without the public. Yeah, so Freemason is just a subversion and a subdivision of the Roman Catholic Church for Protestant countries. Yeah, so I will spare you all of that. Now it gets really interesting. I hope so. The body of President Kennedy was placed in a coffin which was positioned in the center of a circle, once again, circle, you know, female, under the Capitol Dome. The Capitol Dome means, from Latin, Capitolium, the name of the temple of Jupiter Optimus Maximus, the protector of the city and also the most high, the superior god of the Romans, which is the same equivalent as in the Greek it would be Zeus, Z-E-U-S, U-S, Z-E-U-S, yeah. Yeah, and so you see the resemblance and the remarkable indifference between the St. Peter's Basilica and your capital, Brett.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that's right. Yep.
Yeah, so New World Order. New World. This is the old world and this is New World. The old world is Europe and the New World is the United States, or just the new island found by not by Columbus. No.
Yeah, Rome on the Potomac, as they used to call it, right?
Okay. Once again, Rome
on the Potomac River.
Okay.
The Potomac River in I forget what state that is. Yeah, Maryland, right?
Yeah,
Maryland.
Yeah. The body of President Kennedy was placed in a coffin which was positioned in the center of a circle under the Capitol Dome. Once again, you got a small object in the center of a circle, which is the same or nearly the same symbolism as on the grave with the eternal flame. But then you see that sun rays here, or these array of sun rays. Yeah. Pictures taken of the Kennedy coffin and catafalque shows these two props of the funerary rite, as a point in a circle. Fecundity, my word of fertility, is the symbolic signification of the point within a circle and its derivation of ancient sun worship, which is also the exact symbolism of the sun in astrology. Because in pagan religion, the sun was seen as the origin, as the root of fertility. Yeah, because without the sun, there would be no day. Without the sun, there would be no heat. Yeah, without the sun, there would be no vegetation. That's what the people believe. So that was also in the Mysteric cults and the fertility religions, the legend of the death of the hero god and the disappearance of his body. Because, of course, the sun was rising and in the morning, and the sun was going down, and so the sun died every day, and then it reappeared, or it had a rebirth the next day. Yeah, so that is the hero is then the god, and the sun has been seen as male, and the moon as his counterpart for the night has been seen as female. So that means that you have that symbolism all around the funeral and all around the grave as well. What means, or what the meaning of it is actually, that it has something to do with the sun religion. That's not difficult to suggest that maybe that has a religious background. Yeah, so, and we do not know what is in that coffins, because according to some sources here, Universal Masonry, they said that the president's brain was removed and his body was buried without it. Yeah, so nobody knows what, absolutely somebody knows, but it's not us. When routinely used to see the brain, Mr. Wecht, at some kind.
Well, I don't know. It looked pretty obvious, Michael, from that video of the Zapruder film that JFK's brains got blasted out of his skull.
Yeah, on the one hand. On the other hand, there was a portion of the brain was still not intact, okay, but was just present then. And
right.
So when Dr. Chivel Wecht, Chief Medical Examiner in Pennsylvania of the American Academy of Forensic Scientists and Professor of Pathology and Law, received permission from the Kennedy family in 1972 to view the autopsy material, he said when he routinely asked to see the brain, he was told that it was missing along with the microscopic slides of the brain. Marion Johnson, curator of the Romans Commission material at the archive, said the brain's not here. We don't know what happened to it.
So the remainder of it would be the answer as to maybe what they used to, administer the kill shot. I don't know.
Yeah, sure. That's absolutely spot on. Yeah,
I just thought of that now as you were mentioning, because I'm like, wait, we saw his brains fly out of his head. What are we talking about here? But yeah, I don't know. It's really strange, when you add all the things up, because, both Michael and I, we weren't alive when this happened. So I'm sure the people that actually were living at that time have a much more clear understanding of what went down and how it went down. But, for us,
the only one who did an autopsy on the president's body was the military. It was Walter Reed Hospital. In the presence of the military, 2 military doctors it was. It was no one else was allowed to access the body for
the militia.
Obvious reasons.
Yeah, the militia took care of it. Yeah, right.
Yeah. So that is symbolism here. So that means that these sun rays are enlightening the body. So that is quite obvious if you see that as a sacrifice. So whom the body of JFK had been sacrificed to, Brett?
Pagan god of the temple.
Yeah, the sun god.
Yeah, that's it.
The sun god.
Sure.
And don't forget, you see the Capitol dome. Yeah, so the Capitol means the temple of the Jupiter Maximus Optimus. Yeah, as you just mentioned. Yeah, so to the pagan Roman god.
The dragon.
Yeah, spell any name, but that's so obvious. You see that as symbolism. You can always decode these people with their symbolism because they have to go according to their rituals. It's a sacrifice to their sun god. Yeah, that's the same sun god which has been implemented here on the front of that church here with the sun dial. or sun wheel.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that's the same symbolism as in the Dealey Plaza with the erection of the obelisk of Osiris here. When we look back in the book of Alexander Hislop, Two Babylons, on page 151, he states, Horus or Osiris was the sun god, so was Apollo. Oh, NASA, Apollo mission, anybody? Yeah, so the sun god, so that is the sun temple also. So JFK died in a sun temple after facing the obelisk of Osiris, the sun god, and then he was being buried in the temple, or he was being presented in the temple of the Jupiter Maximus Optimus and being enlightened with sun rays. So he was sacrificed and he was being presented, to the sun god. It's so simple, actually. It's simple. You don't make it too complicated. It's just simple. Yeah, and here on the top of that Osiris obelisk, you still have this flame. It's a little bit small, I admit it, but it's just a flame. So that's the same symbolism as on the grave of JFK. See, it's all that simple. If you go into symbolism, you don't have to study 50 languages. You only have to use your God-given brain. Yeah, and this obelisk you see everywhere, even in Vienna in Austria. And even in Washington, when it is been disguised as a Washington monument, yeah, or a big pencil here, huh? my. After the Kennedy coffin was removed from the center of the Capitol Rotunda, and don't forget that in the JFK movie from Oliver Stone, they have seen that who benefited was the question that Mr. X raised. Yeah, who benefits? And then the camera angle is then showing the Washington Monument with the obelisk. Oh.
Yeah.
And where is that obelisk too? Oh, I've forgotten to implement it here. I'm so sorry. Yeah. Obelisk in Rome. Yeah, there you go. That is the obelisk here in the Vatican. Yeah, right in front of the. Look at that. That looks like a pagan temple here. Yeah, could be a pagan temple. Could be St. Peter. And there's the obelisk as well. Sorry. Yeah, there you go. Okay. Yeah. So that is the same symbolism everywhere. Yeah. So Washington is not only the same when it comes down to the Capitol, but also when it comes down to the obelisk. Don't ask me why it's not working here. That's an awful big picture. I smell some problems here. After the Kennedy coffin was removed from the center of the Capitol Rotunda circle, it was taken with pageantry to the streets for viewing.
Pageantry.
Sorry, yes, pageantry.
Yes.
Yeah, for viewing. Yeah. And then it made an unplanned stop at the Pennsylvania Avenue in front of the Occidental restaurant. And the picture was taken of the flag-draped Kennedy coffin with the word Occidental in the back of it. And that has to be something to do with the Egyptian jackal god Anubis. A dead person is said to have gone west. Yeah, and so that is not only that kind of a thing, but also when you see some horses in a funeral, right? It's also very interesting when you think about the use of white horses in Revelation. It's also interesting when the supposed murder of, I think it was Martin Luther King, James Earl Ray, was convicted partly on the evidence of a white Mustang automobile. And Sirhan Sirhan, so the accused killer of Robert Francis Kennedy, claimed to his psychiatrist trans-like that he shot Robert Kennedy for Mustang. That is that car, which had been introduced in the spring of 1964, so just right after the killing of President Kennedy by none other than Lee Iacocca. Yeah, which is, of course, according to Eric John Phelps, a sovereign military knight of Malta. And he was in charge actually, with the automobile of Kennedy, so getting rid of any evidence. Yeah, and later on he was being the boss of, I think it was Chrysler and all the stuff. And so, yeah, these people are being then rewarded. SMOM. Some of the great men of the earth, you see. And that is that white Mustang in the James Bond Goldfinger, what we talked about last time. So all about symbolism. Marilyn Monroe was these ostrich feather women, and in Egypt, lamenting girls with ostrich feather fans sang a song of, what is that kind of English words today?
Entreaty.
Entreaty of that type that Nephthys and Isis reputedly sang as a dirge before the partial resurrection or erection of Osiris. Yeah. Yeah, so John F. Kennedy, according to that King Kill Analysis 33, he was the one and only Catholic president of the United States. A human scapegoat, a pharmakos, or a pharmakos can mean enchantment with drugs and sorcery, or beaten, crippled, or immolated. In alchemy, the killing of the king was symbolized by a crucified snake on a tau cross, a variant of the crucifixion of Jesus. And so, of course, it's no coincidence that they probably have used a so-called lamb chop puppet to kill Kennedy. So he was the lamb, the sacrificed lamb. Yeah, I don't know if you remember that lamb chop puppet. Jerry Lewis, yeah, that was lamb chop. Yeah, that was most likely the thing that Gene Hill saw, if Gene Hill is a reliable witness. So, of course. Yeah. So, the ancient fertility oblation of the killing of the king. Yeah, then, of course, you have the three unworthy craftsmen or the three tramps. And I just want to stop it here because it just goes out of hand then. Because that is just a repetition here. But I have a hard time in believing something or everything, because he says that the coordinates of the Jerusalem temple would be on the 33-degree latitude. Yeah, and I had a hard time because the recent temple then is on 31 degrees 46 minutes latitude and not 33. So I have to check everything, really everything. Yeah, because usually, of course, Dallas is on the 33 degree, and yeah, it's also a trinity with the Neptune spear on the Dealey Plaza. So that was the introduction. I'm sparing you all the details of the Freemason stuff because I'm a little bit bored to go into this. The problems of Euclid and la. This is all distraction. Although you can make some fun with it if you see that there was a singer out of the television series Dynasty, Al Corley, who played a gay character there. He had made interesting single with a pyramid symbol. Who can that be? Yeah, with the title of Square Rooms. Okay, so that really smells for Freemasonry there. Yeah, square rooms is also, you got a square on your head. Yeah, please only think square. Yeah, and they will tell you that it symbolizes a book. Yeah, sure, you have to really think of symbolizing a book. Yeah, maybe it symbolized more than else a black color, with red. Black and red are the colors of Satanism, and it's simply a square, so it can also have a resemblance to Freemasonry and a resemblance to Saturn, because it is a so-called, or it's almost like a cube on top. Okay, so I will spare you all the details when we go back to the Arlington grave. Yeah, you see a point in a circle. And that is the grave of Oswald. That's a little bit more decent here. Yeah, so people admire really death. Yeah, so all that they hate me love death, says the Lord. And this point in the middle there is called the eternal flame on Kennedy's grave. The fire in the middle of the circle represents a point in the circle, the same type of symbolism that is recognizable in Kennedy's bier and coffin being in the center of the rotunda in the Capitol on the Jupiter temple. A point in the circle symbolizes the sun in ancient sun worship. And what is astrology others than ancient sun worship? Or pagan worship? And what is that other than the sun symbol here when they call it a monstrance?
Mm-hmm.
And the cross also is a sun symbol. So you got it both ways. So it was a point, or it was a symbol of fertility, with the point symbolizing a phallus and this circle a vagina. And I said eternal, there was something, and it instantly reminded me of the pop group called the Bangles. And they have maybe something to do with Freemasonry bread, like one of their famous hits was Walk Like an Egyptian.
Oh, yeah, right. Yeah.
And bangles, you see that bangles, wearing bangles also can have a religious background. There can be a ceremony. And also they made this song called Eternal Flame, which is the same object as on the grave of John F. Kennedy. Yeah. And what's special on that recording is that the lead singer, she recorded these vocals in the nude. Yeah, because she was convinced to do so by the songwriter and or producer David Sigerson, who did also write songs for guys like Gene Simmons of Kiss. And late, that was in 1989. Yeah, and they had an appearance. They were just present at the grave of Elvis Presley, another idol who died young. And they noted the eternal flame was out because it was raining, so it was not eternal anymore. So that is very interesting, because now we know that Elvis Presley has been celebrated as an idol, as well as John F. Kennedy. They both did not see their 50th birthday. And also that producer, who was very convincing to the lead singer here, he was then 2 years later in 1991, he was becoming the president of Polydor Records in 1991. You can imagine yourself what his ties are. Yeah, and David had recently produced Olivia Newton-John and pranked me, said the lead singer, by telling me that she did her best vocals in the nude. Yeah, Olivia Newton-John recently died, and he did a song called Magic. Oh yeah, and had also been depicted with John Travolta, Scientology. Yeah, in a play, I don't know the English title of that, but it has to do to save the earth before the wrath of God, and the only help they have is from Lucifer. Sure, Lucifer. Also, another code name for Lucifer is here the Great Tyrant. In the movie with Jane Fonda from the 1970s, Barbarella, it's mean the Great Tyrant. You will see the Great Tyrant has some wings on his back, and the Great Tyrant reminded me instantly of Ezekiel 28 of the king of Tyre, tyrant. I said, there maybe some connections. You can look it up if you would like. Yeah. So this is Elvis Presley, a huge idol. Yeah, he could only sing, but that's enough for the world. Yeah. So Elvis Presley died young, I think 42. Marilyn Monroe somewhere in their 30s. James Dean 24, and Betty Boo, she's not a real character. Yeah, but they all died young. Yeah, like it is promoted today that only young counts, because all the old people, they are a threat to society, not because of their health, but because of their wisdom or their life experience.
Yeah.
So die young is also presenting you a mess, or a mess in a mess, with their Luciferian pentagram here. And if that is not a mess, I don't know what is. We're gonna die young, and all the young stars, they say, yeah, that's a great song. We're gonna die young. Yeah, maybe, I don't know. Yeah, you see that there were some changes in the world since 2019, and maybe some of them will die young, unexpected and suddenly. So this is the grave, supposedly with the eternal flame of Elvis Aaron Presley. Aaron being the name of the high priest of the Israelites who built the golden calf, right? Great. So he's not responsible for his own name. So it's the same symbolism between Elvis Presley and John F. Kennedy. They both have an eternal flame, which is the same as on top of the Osiris obelisk in the Didi Plaza, as you can compare and see for yourself. Yeah, you see, walk like an Egyptian. Yeah, the ancient solar worship has already been seen in the rites of the ancient Egyptian people, and there are the origins of the counterfeit religion of the Freemasons in the ancient mysteries of Egypt. Yeah, so Osiris, of course, huh? And so you got the three bullets. You got the priest, the politician, and the mob. But I just want to spare you all the details on the Freemasonry here. As well as the Masonic rose and all the stuff, these are all symbols for something also. It achieves some distance between husband and wife, or ex-wife, because I think she was untrue at the same time, at the time when they had the motorcade through Dallas. Yeah. So every rose has its thorns. So the rose also does stands for sacrifice and blood, of course, blood sacrifice, a thorn, a rose. Yeah, in Islam, the rose represents the blood of the Islamic prophet Muhammad and his two sons. So it's for death, huh? It's also a death symbol. Of course, in a satanic world, it stands for love, huh? It's always the same. You see, Rosicrucians also, secret societies, Scottish Rite, and all the stuff. Yeah, there's a rose in a silk in the center. Yeah, there's also a Yellow Rose of Texas. Actually, it's a song, Yellow Rose of Texas. I would really like to spare you all the details. A Connecticut woman named Emily DeWest signed a contract to work as a housekeeper. And some believed she was acting as a Texanian spy, and well, I don't want to go in all the stories there. Yeah, I just want to show you what's what actually, and not to spend so much time on that. Yeah, so that was the only time I think that Mrs. Kennedy was been handing over red roses. And people mistake that for a signal and saying, "Oh yeah, I love you." Yeah. So symbolism of the rose in Masonry, of course, it does not come from millions of years ago, because that evolution theory is BBBBS. Yeah, so it has different meanings. Also, there are flowers of a rose flying through the air in the birth of a Venus in a shell. And also rose is an anagram for Eros, yeah, so the god of love. Eros is the same letters, or R-O-S-E, yeah, Eros, Rose, yeah, Rose, yeah, so that's the same. Eros has been depicted in Abba the Visitors, which actually is Lucifer, because he has burned wings, yeah, and Eros does not need to have any burned wings. So it's all deception. ABBA also being a Freemason company, because the so-called chief of ABBA, Björn Ulvaeus, yeah, you see that he's not playing straight. You see that at the B, at the logo, Agneta, Benny, Björn, and Anna-Fried. Yeah, you see one of the male characters, they have mirrored the letter. And so that means there's something satanic going on. Yeah, because that is just seen through a mirror here. That has been mirrored, and he was kind of a fraternity, even when he was very young. And Venus has been accused of being the holy flower, yeah, of the asexual demigoddess, which we call the Virgin Maria, or Virgin Mary. Yeah, so can also stand for Mary. Yeah, he's been named in Middle Ages lyrics Rosa Mystica. Yeah, so can also be seen as a symbol for Mary. Red roses. Yeah, where to start? Yeah, so look at the symbolism. Yeah, you see that there is some kind of a gravestone or been for JFK on the ground here. The black cube, also symbolism for Satan. And so you got a cube in a cube. Yeah, so the big cube where the entry is very small. So therefore you find yourself a little bit caught here between the rocks and the hard place, huh? So that is not a positive location here, Brad. Would you really relax in that kind of a monument?
Strange. Yeah, very strange.
Yeah, you see there are no trees, there are no birds. It's just concrete.
Concrete. Yeah,
concrete.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cold.
Extremely cold. Yeah. Yeah, and also square, huh?
Right.
Square, Masonic.
Cubic, actually. Yeah.
Cubic.
Even worse. The hexagram. Yeah.
Sorry. So I was looking for some hints, and I found some hint here. On the top, you see the car from the computer play JFK Reloaded. And on the bottom here, you see the car from the famous picture of Ike Oldkins, number 6. And there is a difference in both pictures. I'm not speaking about the direction of the car also, but really look at the car. There is a major difference between the two pictures. Can you name it, Brett?
A major difference?
A major difference, yes. I will enlarge it a bit, okay? So you really see what's what. So.
Let's see. License plate KK 300 and GG 300. That's not really major, or is it?
That's major, yes, because what kind of a letter is K?
Let's see.
In numerals.
D, E, F, G, H, I. 11.
Yeah, how convenient.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, like Ku Klux Klan.
Right. And
yeah, 3 times 11, 33. And so KK, you see that can also be a hint to Freemasons here, huh?
Well, GG would be 7/7 then, wouldn't it?
Yeah, but that serves another purpose here. That serves the Kabbalah. Yeah, and that is just here that
oh yeah.
Why did they make that mistake? You see, that is yeah. Nobody would make that mistake.
Yeah. Right. So why do you have the KKK 33, huh?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. And KK also resembles, for example, the 22 steps on the Didi Plaza. When, yeah,
okay.
All other stuff, 22 chapters in the Bible and 22 letters and all the stuff. Yeah. So just skipping it, you see that you can really see, you really have to see their symbolism. Yeah. Albert Einstein is also a fraud. Yeah,
wait, Michael, you said 22 chapters in the Bible. Isn't there 66?
22 chapters in the book of Revelation. Yeah, sorry, I missed it. I missed that point.
Chapters. You said chapters. I thought you meant books. Okay.
No.
I'm glad that we clear that up. Yes, thank you.
Whew.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, that's the same. You see all the similarity of Mercury, for example. You got a Mercury car where the doors have been opened in Article 6 on the back, where supposedly people are firing something in the air. Yeah. Then you got Freddie Mercury singing about the Killer Queen. Then you got Mercury dealership where the supposed killer Jack, what's the name again, from the Storm Drainer, yeah, Jack Lawrence has been working, also Mercury, and the bullet that allegedly Mr. James Files has been shot on the Dealey Plaza grassy knoll has been filled with mercury. Yeah, so every time you see mercury, and Texas Google Depository is also mercury. Yeah, so it's all mercury is all about magic. Yeah, trickster god. My. You see that. I could have written a book, I think, about the Kennedy assassination. It takes me months to go into this and see all the stuff. Yeah, you see, you only have to see their symbolism here. Yeah, and you know that, oh, he's one of them.
For sure.
He's one of them. Yeah, he's not the independent genius. Yeah, you see that they are fooling the world into believing that all the theories are from him. Actually, and I think we have found out that they were not his creation.
No, Jesuits.
Yeah, you see symbolism. Yeah, there's a shop or what else like Diamond Girls Creations on the top of their pyramid here. Diamond, yeah. Somebody, Ezekiel 28, yeah. You were equipped with precious stones. Lucifer in the Garden of Eden. Yeah, shall I have to look it up in the really? Do I have to look it up in the King James Bible actually? Choo. Yeah, you see, thou hast been in Eden, the garden of God. Every precious stone was thy covering, topaz and the diamond. Yeah, and so that's very odd that on the top of their Freemason pyramid, when you enter the temple here, because here it is where Osiris is presented. This is Elm Street, and on top of the pyramid you see Diamond Girl Creations, as if they have known the Bible.
Wait, isn't that the underpass? Or what is that?
Yeah, but not the underpass, but it's after the underpass, most likely.
Strange.
Diamond Girl's creation. I said Diamond Girl, great. Yeah, and so we know that is all a ritual about Hiram Abiff for the not so lay people, but for the more educated people. But actually, the ritual is also not the ritual because they did not do it according to the ritual. Yeah, and the 22nd of November makes 33 with the month 11. And it's the same November as the year 1307, 22nd of November, and the leaders of the Knights Templars were burned by the stake by orders of King Philip IV of France and Pope Clement. So church and state combined. But that is not all, because you see that numerology, that plays a big part in occultism, because you can also make secret letters if you know the code and nobody else knows it, except from one other people, because then otherwise it does not make any sense to write a coded letter when nobody can encode it or decipher it, of course. So 777, for example, is the lightning flash of creation. Yeah, so these are numerical values of letters of the Hebrew alphabet and all the stuff. I don't want to explain it everything, but because you see that it's just a pagan thing, and I don't want to educate people on paganism, but I just want to decode their language. And you know that if it has been erected, the Dallas city and the Dallas Dealey Plaza, according to their Freemason stuff and the Kabbalah, then it is very interesting. That is, by the way, David Bowie. You see that these people are just trying everything out. Yeah, so that is the flaming sword of creation. Yeah, goes from top to bottom, as above, so below. That is their pagan idea. Yeah, and so that depicts also the lower part or the part here of the Dealey Plaza. Yeah, Main Street, Elm Street, Commerce Street. Yeah, and here are your diamond girls. Yeah. But I said you have to know their language to decode them. Yeah, you see that here you got the numerical value of the letters. And it comes up with 777, and there you got your Roman numerals of the cards, and therefore you see you got 93, you got flight 93 from September, etc. You see that everything is no coincidence. Yeah, it has all been planned before. So therefore, we are coming to the second part of the session, which I think is more interesting. That means that how to decipher their language. Yeah. First of all, you see that it is very remarkable that there is a president, leader of the so-called free world, which has been killed in the broad daylight. He has killed almost at high noon. That's why I implemented here a picture of high noon. Why? You see that he could have secretly been poisoned or so that nobody would been a witness to that accidental incident and assassination. But it happened on purpose to show the entire world we are so powerful that we can even take out the allegedly most powerful man of the world. Yeah, take him out, and nobody can touch us. Yeah, because we control everything. We control the press. We control the judges. We control the Congress. We control everything. Yeah, the police, the FBI, etc. So therefore, that was just an official thing which should have happened in broad daylight. Yeah, it was a shootout. It was not a shootout, but it just happened in broad daylight. And you can see it there. And don't forget the words of Jacqueline Kennedy, who said that, oh, it was so terribly hot. Yeah, because it was 12:30 p.m. Broad daylight, great weather, Dallas. And I assure you, there were no 3 shots coming down of the Texas School Book Depository which hit the limousine. That serves the Freemason ritual of the 3 shots or the 3 attempts on a Hiram Abiff. Like the 3 unworthy craftsmen. Yeah. So, how to trace the root, or how to trace all the stuff down to the people who are behind the assassination? Well, first of all, you got a strange rifle. You got a Mannlicher Carcano, so your American president was not been murdered with an American weapon. Usually, I would say that most American, they buy American when it comes down to weapons, because America delivers a very high amount of different brands and models. Yeah, so that's very odd, yeah, because that weapon also has been presented as a trophy. Look here, that is the alleged gun which the alleged marksman Lee Harvey Oswald shot our beloved president. Yeah, so, but that is just a lie, because according to Fetzer and his crew, it does not fit. Yeah, the belt on the gun does not fit, and some other things do not fit. Yeah, so therefore, it is very strange that it seems that it had been corrected, because your Walter Cronkite said right in the open it was not a Mauser, so a German rifle from pre-First World War, actually a carabine from 1899, 1898 or so. So before the First World War, it was not a Mauser. It has been reported through most of yesterday and today, but in Italian, yeah, that's now incorrectly translated here. In Italian, Mannlicher Carcano, so that is the name of the rifle, and so that is the automatic translator, which is here making a mess out of it. In Italian, Mannlicher Carcano, manufactured in the Italian town of, yeah, Carcano, of course. So one day later, they decided that it could not have been a German Mauser rifle, but it had to be an Italian Mannlicher Carcano. So your president had been shot with an Italian rifle, and not with an American, German, or whatsoever. With an Italian rifle. That points to Italy. Yeah, you see that, of course, it points to Rome, huh? And he goes on into saying the rifle was a high-powered one with a sniper scope attached. Yeah, so it was a great weapon, where everybody knew that the bullets, they used very weak bullets in that rifle. That was not the sophisticated rifle that they want you to believe. It isn't. But you see that everybody believes when Walter Cronkite is looking friendly into the camera. Oh, yeah. Yeah. And Hickey 45, having a membership of millions on YouTube, is presenting that very rifle, or not that model at least, yeah, and says, oh, it is a very accurate weapon. Yeah, but of course, that is an Italian rifle. Come on, you have to really see the connection to Italy. Why should an American, Lee Harvey Oswald, who was coming back from Russia, who was working for the CIA, Why should he have used an Italian rifle? Oh, of course, because it was just an accident, because it was so cheap. Sure. Yeah, you have to believe it. Then you can also believe the I don't know, the Tooth Fairy or so, or I don't know, Rabbit's Underground and Alice in Wonderland. Yeah. And that was modified in 1938. And he says, oh no, I have nothing to do about conspiracy theories, because everybody is very concerned nowadays that he's not thrown into a pot with conspiracy nuts like us. Sure. Yeah. So he says it's an actual weapon. I've seen that weapon. I've seen that demonstration, and he has made 6 out of 6 with it. Yeah. So, but it does not prove that Lee Harvey Oswald has shot anybody. Yeah. But the problem is Roger Craig, a Dallas deputy sheriff. He testified that he was standing on the far side of Dealey Plaza, across of the Texas School Book Depository, and he said that he ran to the grassy knoll because he then heard a shot. Yeah, so many people were running to the grassy knoll. Of course, that's another distraction. That Roger Dean Craig is a very interesting character because he was a Dallas cop at that time. He was on duty in Dallas, and after hearing the firing at President JFK, he ran towards the grassy knoll, where he interviewed witnesses to the shooting. Then he saw a man running from the back of the Texas School Book Depository to the Elm Street, and then that man got into a Nash station wagon. And later on, you see that tried to twist his words, I think it was, and he insisted that the rifle that was found was a 7.65 Mauser German rifle and not a Mannlicher Carcano. And now it is not surprisingly that he became unpopular with senior police officers in Dallas when we know that the chief of the Dallas police at that time, Jesse Kirby, was a 33-degree high-ranking member of Freemasonry. So it seems that Roger Craig was unfortunately not a member of the Freemason stuff. Or you can also argue that he was controlled opposition. But you see that he was then the black sheep of the Dallas police, so to speak. He insisted he had seen Lee Harvey Oswald get into a station wagon, and that was ignored by Earl Warren of that same commission, Warren Commission, and his team, because that it had showed that at least 2 people were involved in the assassination, which could not be because it has always to be that lone assassin. He refused to change his mind about finding a 7.65 Mauser rather than a Mannlicher Carcano. And then he was fired from the police department in 1967 after he was found to have discussed his evidence with a journalist. That's the official Wikipedia explanation. Later that year, in 1967, he was shot at while walking to a car park. The bullet grazed his hair. In 1971, he wrote that book, When They, multitude, when they killed the president. In 1973, a car forced Craig's car off a mountain road. We cannot prove it. This is just official Wikipedia so-called knowledge. He was badly injured, but he survived the accident. In 1974, he was surviving another shooting in Texas. The following year, he was seriously wounded when his car engine exploded, and he told friends that his mafia has decided to kill him. He was then found dead on 15th of May 1975. It was later decided that he had died as a result of self-inflicted gunshot wounds. And that's a story, huh? Maybe that's what has been meant in Matthew 24, that they will try to persecute you, try to kill you. Yeah. He told in the interview a few seconds later, I heard another explosion, and that time I knew it was a shot. And he can recall 3 different explosions. And the time between the second and third, he said not more than 2 seconds. It was real rapid. And I can remember that I have pointed out on the media murder of Lee Harvey Oswald, I pointed out that there were documentaries who said that you do not need only 2.3 seconds for the pure reload time of that rifle, but you have to adjust again Yeah, and so the minimum time of another second or third shot is close to 3 to 4 seconds. So when he says it's not more than 2 seconds, yeah, it's clear that it had not been the same gun, at least not a Mannlicher Carcano. That's the rifle what we are talking about here. Yeah, so Brett, I'm looking forward to the next 2 or 3 Kennedy sessions, and then I'm so glad when all is over.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Don't expect me to go ever again into Kennedy, because maybe with a break of 5 years or so, but I really need to retire. This is so time consuming to go into something just out of the love for God and out of the love for the truth, that you really see that if your government is putting tricks on you, and the force behind is a sun religion, yeah, then you really see that the Bible is correct. When the Bible says in Revelation 17:2, it was 17:2. I'm 100% sure because I read that verse 2 days ago. Oh, Brett, please
Yes.
help out.
With whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication, and the inhabitants of the earth have been made drunk with the wine of her fornication. Yeah, Revelation chapter 17, verse 2. Thank you, Michael.
Yeah, that's it. I'm signing off, really. I'm losing my voice. So thank you very much for bearing with me.
Yeah, Michael, that's a huge journey we went on today. And yeah, I'd say it's close to a 3-hour long session. We'll see.
Right.
We'll see by the time the editing is done. We had some interruptions, but no big deal. We made it through. And yeah, this is one of the lessons Michael has bared a lot of time and patience to endure to bring us this. And I want to give him a warm thank you from me here, Brett, in Minnesota, United States, although it's cold and miserable here where I live. Certainly, it's not that way every day of the year, but we're going into winter, and it's good to be back with you, Michael. I'm looking forward to the next session already, and we'll get the Kennedy sessions look like they're going to be coming to close soon. So it's good work, Michael. Thank you very much, and we thank God for you and your abilities and your talents you bring to the table for us today. And we'll look forward to seeing everyone next time, God willing. Maranatha.